Good morning, boys and girls. So today we are working on multiplying mixed numbers. And the first thing that I wanted to go over is how do we multiply mixed numbers? And then we're going to do a few practice problems. So you can see on the screen that I have this little poster anchor chart to help us kind of walk through the steps of multiplying mixed numbers. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it, and then we'll actually practice it. So you can see that the problem we see here is 2 1/3, and this little dot is another way that you can write a multiplication sign. So times 5 2/5. You may think that you can just multiply 2 times 5 and then multiply 1/3 times 2/5, but that actually does not work and will not give you the right answer. You have to change that mixed number, which is, if you remember, when you have a whole number and a fraction, you have to change it into an improper fraction, which means your numerator is bigger than your denominator. And the way you do that is by multiplying your denominator. So in this case, it would be 3 times your whole number, which would be 2. So you have 3 times 2, and then you would add that 1. See if I can mark on here for us really quick. So we would have 3. I always draw my line up so I know I'm multiplying 3 times 2, and then I'm going to add 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 equals 7. So that means that my numerator is going to be 7 and my denominator stays the same, so it will stay 3. If you look right here, we have 7/3. Well, we also have to change our fraction on this side. So 5 times 5 is going to give us 25. And then we have to add 2. 25 plus 2 gives us 27. And 27 will be all over, I can move that line out of the way, 5, because our denominator was 5 and that does not change. So you can see here, when we convert our mixed numbers to fractions, we have 7/3 times 27/5. They did something here that we haven't really talked about yet, which is they reduced 3 and 27 before they multiplied. If you know how to do that, awesome, you can. But if not, you would just multiply straight across and have 7 times 27, and then you would have 3 times 5, and you would just flip that back to a mixed number. So we are now going to look at a few problems. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get those problems pulled up for us. Alrighty, so we're going to work out these two problems that you see on the screen. We have 12, which is a whole number, times 2 1/6, which is a mixed number. And then we also have 4 2/5 times 1 1/2. So we're multiplying two mixed numbers. On this first one, 12, how do you remember how we put 12 as a fraction? Right, we can just put it over 1. So we actually don't have to do anything with that 12 other than put it over 1 in order to make it a fraction. And then we are going to multiply 12 by whatever fraction we turn 2 1/6 into. If you remember, we're going to multiply the bottom, and you can draw that one line all the way through if it helps you. So 6 times 2 is what? 12, and we have 12 plus 1, and what are we going to get? 13. So 13 will be our numerator. And what is our denominator going to be? 6, because remember that denominator does not change. And then, just like regular multiplying fraction that you already know how to do, you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So what is 12 times 13? Well, if you don't know, you can actually stack it up, but you know that 12 times 12 is 144, right? So you can actually just do 144 plus 12, and 4 plus 2 is 6, 4 plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So make it easier on yourself. If you know 12 plus 12 or 12 times 12, just add 12 to get your answer to 12 times 13, which will be 156. And we do not just bring that denominator over when we're multiplying, we actually multiply. So 1 times 6 is 6. Uh-oh, our numerator is bigger than our denominator, so we have to turn this back into a mixed number. So you ask yourself, how many times does 6 go into 156? If you're unsure, which I know I couldn't do that off the top of my head, you're actually just going to write it out like a regular division problem. 156 divided by 6. So I know that 6 doesn't go into 1, so I'm going to move to 15. 6 goes into 15 how many times? 2. 2 times 6 is 12, so I subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. I bring down my 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times, right? 6 times 6 is 36. And I do not have a remainder. So that means my answer is actually just this whole number, 26. Great job, guys. Alrighty, we're going to do this last problem together really quickly. Both of our numbers have to be turned into fractions, and we do that by multiplying across the bottom. 4 times 5 gives us 20. And we need to add that 2, right? So 20 plus 2 is going to give us 22. And what is our denominator going to be? 5, because it stays the same. And we are multiplying that by 1 times 2 gives us 2. And then we need to add our numerator, which is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. And what is it going to be over, or what is our denominator? 2. That's right, because our denominator stays the same. Now we multiply across. 22 times 3. Well, I know that 3 times 2 is 6, and then 3 times 2 will also be 6. So that's going to give us 66 all over, what is 5 times 2? 10. Great job, guys. Now we need to change it back to a mixed number. This one I can do in my head, but if you can't, go ahead and write it out. 66 divided by 10. I know that if I have 6, I cannot make a group of 10, so I need to move on to 66. 10 times what equals as close to 66 as I can get? That's right, guys, 6. So 6 is my whole number, or that big number. And then 6 times 10 is 60. So I subtract 66 minus 60, and I know that that equals 6. So 6 is going to be my numerator. And what is my denominator going to be? 10, right? You can look at that by finding your divisor, or you know that your first denominator was 10. So your answer would be 6 6/10. But you can also reduce this one. Remember, when you reduce, you do not do anything with that whole number. So that whole number is actually going to stay 6. But we're going to look at that 6/10. Is there a number that goes into both 6 and 10? That's right, guys. They're both even. So you know that you can divide the top by 2 and you can divide the bottom by 2. So what is 6 divided by 2? 3. And what is 10 divided by 2? 5. So your final simplified or final reduced answer would be 6 3/5. Y'all did awesome in today's lesson. Just remember, sorry about that, guys. Just remember that you take your mixed number and turn it into a fraction by having denominator times your whole number, and then you add your numerator, and then you multiply straight across, you get your answer and you turn it back into a mixed number. And then you can see if you can simplify that mixed number any more than it already is. And if you do simplify, you don't change the whole number, you only change the fraction. I cannot wait to see some of you guys in small group later today. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.